Hey guys, welcome to Starting Out Solitary. I'm your Thursday host, Michelle, and this week's topic is cleansing and charging. So when it comes to cleansing and charging our tools, there's a variety of different ways you can do it. I usually, for cleansing, I use either salt water, I use Florida water. If I'm physically cleansing something, I'll use Florida water, salt water. Sometimes if the item I'm cleansing can't be, submerged in water or have, the Florida water put on it, I will run it through incense smoke, and I usually use white sage incense, not actual white sage, but white sage incense, or dragon's blood, depending on what I'm doing and why I'm cleansing it and what it's going to be used for. For my crystals, depending on the crystal, most of them, 80% of the crystals I have, I use salt and rosemary. And I have this mixture of salt, sea salt and rosemary, and sometimes I have white sage in there as well. And I will place my crystals in there for a few hours and then, bring them out, rinse them off with, spring water, and they're cleansed. I always put my crystals out for the full moon to cleanse and charge. I never put anything like my crystals and stuff like that in the sunlight. I don't put too many things in the sunlight because, especially where I live, it gets really, really hot, and it might, damage the item or, make it fade or whatever. So I usually don't use sunlight, and if I do, it's only for maybe an hour or two at tops. But my main go-tos for cleansing are either salt water or Florida water, and of course the full moon, which to me, for crystals, it not only cleanses them, but it also charges them. Not specifically charging, but general charging. And the incense smoke when you can't put things in water and stuff like that. Salt, of course, is a universal cleanser and purifier of anything, really. As far as charging is concerned, it depends on how and why. I will put things, like I said, if it's a full moon, I will put things under the full moon to charge. I've used charging boxes where I've decorated a box or a little trinket box or something, and I have charged that under the full moon and then charged it myself, and then used that to charge other items depending on, the intention or what I'm trying to do, But actual charging of my items, I mean, when it comes to my tools, I don't, charge each one of them per se. Like I said, they'll be cleansed, they'll be put under a full moon, and to me, they're ready to use. But as far as charging things with my intent, I simply hold them in my right hand, the item in my right hand, after I've cleansed it. Sometimes after it's been charged also by the moon, I will hold it in my right hand, and I will visualize energy coming into me through the top of my head from the cosmos, the universe, whatever you want to call it, and my energy intermingling with the energy of the universe, and it will be going into, I'll be visualizing this energy going into the item while I state my intent, or, state what the item is being programmed to be used for. Especially with crystals, I'll hold them in my right hand and program them that way. And I will do this with, lots of stuff, like if I'm going to be using, certain items for spell work, I will charge every item I'm using separately, including herbs. Like, I'll do each herb separately for what I want it to be, what attributes I want it to bring to the spell, and I'll charge the, if I'm using a candle, I'll charge that separately. If, like I said, the herbs will be charged separately. If I'm using, whatever I'm using, doesn't matter what the item is, it'll be charged. I've even used nail polish in a couple of spells, and I've charged the nail polish. And when I charged it, you know, because I'm sitting there holding the bottle, charging it, now that bottle is charged with the intent that I just charged it with. So if I need to use it for something else, or for a different spell, or just for whatever, then I'll cleanse it. So those are just a few of the ways that I charge and cleanse. Like I said, of course, the full moon is the go-to for general charging, but, you know, personal charging, I like to hold the things in my hand. If I can't physically hold the item, no matter how big it is, if I can't hold it, I will put my hands over it to charge, or place my intent into it, but I really like to hold the items. For some reason that makes a big difference to me. I don't know why. Some people, it doesn't matter. They can just, you know, put their hands around it or on top of it or whatever, but I like to hold it. I like to make charging boxes for general intents like health, prosperity, abundance, happiness, good fortune, you know, those kinds of things. Just general intents, like just overall well-being or whatever. And when I make these charging boxes, I like to, you know, I'll just get like sometimes they sell these little like decorative boxes like at the dollar store, or I'll save little boxes. Anytime I see a, you know, cute little box or a tin or something, I will save them. And as I'm, like, if I have to decorate it or repaint it or refinish it or whatever I have to do to it to get it ready, as I'm decorating it and as I'm painting it, I have my intent in mind while I'm doing that. And, you know, the whole purpose of me making this box is in mind while I'm actually, you know, decorating it. And then once it's ready, I will put it under a full moon. And I usually, for charging boxes, I usually like to do 2 cycles of the full moon. But sometimes I've just gone with 1. And then once that's taken place, then I will hold the box in my hands and charge it with the intent that this box is a charging box. It will charge any item placed into it for the purpose of XYZ. Goodwill, good fortune, abundance, happiness, health, wealth, whatever. And I'll charge it, and then it's ready to use. So any time I need to charge an item with a general intent, I will use a charging box. Of course, I do tend to, you know, when I place things in my charging box, for whatever reason, I will take it out and, of course, reaffirm my intention. So, anyways, those are just a few of the ways I cleanse and charge my items and things. Let me know how you cleanse and charge. What do you guys do? Do you do anything different? Do you have any tips or tricks for us? Let us know down in the comments below. And, of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. And, as always, blessed be.